Who's your team in the NFL? See if he claims his team this
Seattle
season.
Seahawks.
Seahawks? That's my team.
My team too.
Who's your team?
Kansas City Chiefs.
We have some Jacksonville merch in this house that says differently. What's up, y'all? It is your girl, Ashley Ross. And as you can see, I have a very special guest here with me for week 4, my dad. Dad, say hi to the people.
Hi, everyone out there in the Ashley Ross.
This is Swaggy J. If you follow
world.
me on social media at Ashley Ross 3, this is the guy who's just swaggier than most. This is my dad. I love him. Super, I said my stepmom is a football savant. He is where I learned my love of football, and we are going to talk about week 4. You ready to get into this?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Vikings, Texans, both teams made the playoffs last year, but came into this game both 0-3. And breaking news, last week I was saying people gotta go.
Bill O'Brien
got the boot.
His duties.
He got
Rightfully so.
His
And I
card
hope
did not
that
work
Adam Gase
today.
is the next one.
Oh, and also Dan Quinn out in Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
All
Green
three.
Bay game will solidify Dan Quinn.
Absolutely.
Vikings, I'm glad that they got this win, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little concerned about Dalvin Cook the first 2 games of the season, because I was like, you just got paid all this money, but now he's really starting to come into form.
Look, Dalvin Cook is running like a man possessed. I mean, and if you watch his runs, I mean, he is like hitting people. I mean, he's just aggressive. Love me some Dalvin Cook. Florida State. I just think that the Vikings both teams are very disappointing. You could have told me that the Vikings would be 1-3, and the Texans would be 0-4. I mean,
Texans aren't as surprising because, Bill O'Brien, when he gave away D-Hop,
right.
Everybody kind of scratched their head,
Right.
like, well, but what did you get for him? Everybody was waiting for the make it make sense moment. And now the fact that they've gotten rid of D-Hop, Bill O'Brien's gone. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, what did you really get in that trade?
Right. I mean, I just never understood why owners allow some teams to have a coach, they allow personnel to be a coach and a general manager. Look, it's hard enough to be a coach, or it's hard enough to be a general manager. But to wear 2 hats makes no sense to me, and especially if you can't prove that you're good at either one of those.
Exactly.
So unfortunately, hey, I'm sorry you got fired, but it was probably the right thing early in the season to hopefully turn their season around, because they do have a lot of talent. And that division they're in, I mean, it's not that good. So, I mean, there is time for them to make a move and to hopefully turn the ship around. Vikings, on the other hand, I'm with you. Cousins is overrated. Never been impressed with him when he was at Washington.
He's never won the big game.
Yeah, right. So like you said, you made the point that Case Keenum took them deep in the playoffs, and they're not going to go very far with the quarterback play.
Jaguars, Bengals. Now let the record show. Who's your team in the NFL? See if he claims his team this
Seattle
season.
Seahawks.
Seahawks? That's my team.
My team too.
Who's your team?
Kansas City Chiefs.
We have some Jacksonville merch in this house that says differently. You picked the Jaguars. No. He actually picked the Jaguars for this game. I said the Bengals because I said, look, this is a good chance for Joe Burrow and company to get a dub, and I was correct.
Like everyone else in Duval,
Duval!
I started drinking the Kool-Aid with Minshew Mania. But at the end of the day, they need to keep losing, get Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson.
Tank for Trevor?
Tank for Trevor. Get that guy in there. We need Trevor Lawrence.
You don't like Minshew anymore?
Well, here's the deal. I like Minshew. I still, there's not enough games that's been played if he's a viable NFL quarterback. But here's the problem with Jacksonville. Jacksonville traded way too, they can't sack the quarterback. The only person they have is Josh Allen, and he's doing the best he can, but they're double teaming him. They all the big name players, Calais Campbell and everybody else that they had, they let him go. Jalen Ramsey, Boye. I mean, they have their defense has been decimated through trades and just whatever.
I just have never been a fan of the Doug Marrone era.
Me either. I'm the same with you. I think that Doug Marrone's on a short leash, and I think that he could get fired, midway through the season if he doesn't progress.
This is why I actually like Garner, because I feel like he's actually covered a lot of the Jaguars' blemishes, and they would be a lot worse off if he wasn't there. I just think defensively, like you said, they've just traded so many pieces. But if you look, I mean, even with DJ Chark and some of the other guys, he has a good, timing and connection with them. It's just they don't have a team. They literally traded away the team.
Right. I mean, they have some very, very talented young players because they got rid of so many players. A lot of draft picks that they've.
And they're going to get a lot of draft picks from that Rams trade.
Right. I mean, the rookie running back Robinson, Chenault, the wide receiver. I mean, all of them. I mean, they have been really playing well. So I just think that, like you said, offensively, they're doing the best they can, but defensively, I think there's just too many gaps.
Do you like Joe Burrow?
I think Joe Burrow.
He's a baller.
He's a baller.
Shot call.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks very good. I mean, to be honest with you, he could have won. I mean, they could easily be 2-2 or 3-1 right now. He's going to continue to get better. I mean, I like what I see. They've got a young
I just
team.
love his demeanor. He to me,
he shows a lot of
he's
poise,
like a better Baker Mayfield to me.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, obviously they're different body types, but
Right.
I think the moxie that Baker tries to muster,
Right.
I feel like Joe Burrow actually has, and he
Right.
just methodically goes down. I have a confidence in Burrow. I'm like, okay, he can do this.
I agree. I think, and Mixon right now is running the ball.
He ran it really well yesterday.
Right. I think they're up and coming. I'm excited to see what Joe Burrow does the rest of the year.
Saints, Lions.
Every week it seems the Lions get out to this tremendously fast
14-0.
and you're like, hey man, this is the week. This is the week they're going to win.
Their week.
This is the week. This is what we've been wanting to see from the Lions, right? With all that talent. It never fails. That lead disappears, fades away, and it's just, I can't even believe that the Saints scored, 27 or 35 unanswered points. I mean, that's just ridiculous. To give up that many points unanswered. It's like what?
Do you think Matt Patricia? Do you think he's in a kind of a hot seat at all?
Yeah, I think he is in a hot seat. I think just like Bill O'Brien, all these, sometimes you get these disciples of
the Bill Belichick
tree, and they're just not that good. I mean, give me one coach or name one coach that came from Bill Belichick tree that's been a successful coach in the NFL. Two of them right now. One of them just got fired, and you can best believe Detroit's coach.
He's on the hot seat.
Yeah, he's gonna be on the short leash as well.
The Saints.
Saints.
They're struggling. Their past struggles was because they don't have Michael Thomas, and he is the glue that makes Drew Brees comfortable and makes this offense go. But Alvin Kamara, man, I mean that dude is a bad boy. I actually interviewed Reggie Bush a couple years ago. I'm gonna play this after this clip, but he was like, when you see him run, he's just so slippery. I mean, and he looks so effortless when he runs. It doesn't look like he's trying. He just glides.
Alvin Kamara is just like, and I spoke to him at the game, at the Cowboys game on the sideline. I walked up to him. I was like, you just seem like you just always chilling. Like always, like even in the way he runs the football, like he's just chilling. And so
It's smooth.
he's smooth, right? Like when he's at his top end speed, he don't look like he's running that fast, right? But he's pulling away from defenders. When he runs through the hole and he's breaking tackles, it's like defenders are like just falling off him, like he's slippery, right? And so, like when I played, like when I was running fast, like you could see in my body language I was running fast, right? You could see in my body language I was trying really hard. Like for him, it's just effortless, and when players play like that, when you play at that level, it usually results in success.
He reminds me, when I grew up, there was Marcus Allen. I mean, he's just like, he's real smooth, and he doesn't seem like it takes a whole lot of effort, but he's matriculating down the field. The Saints, I hope they put it to rest about Drew Brees. I mean, look, if Tom Brady.
Do you think the deep ball is even that? Do you think it's that important?
I think it's no. I think. I mean, you want to stretch the defense, but then at the end of the day, it's about the run after the catch. I mean, hey, they have a lot of. I mean, like you said, I think they're number one receivers out right now. But I think once he gets back, they have other playmakers. I just think that the Saints are okay. The Saints got a good defense. Great special teams. I think that, I think sometimes Sean Payton tries to outsmart himself when he brings in Hill.
He does a little too much.
He will do too much. Just stay with Drew Brees. Don't do all this trickery stuff. But I think the Saints, are going to win this division.
I said Tampa Bay is going to win the division, so we will see who is right in the end. Chargers, Bucs, oldest QB versus youngest QB matchup. What did you think about the GOAT versus Herbert?
I am impressed with Herbert.
You like Herbert?
Oh my God, he looks the part. I mean, he can sling that ball downfield. He's strong, athletic. I think, It's going to be tough for him not to stay as a starter and ride with him the rest of the year. Obviously, there's going to be some ups and downs with the rookie quarterback, but I think, hey, and he's played in the two games he's played against the Chiefs. I mean, he went head toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, and he's went toe-to-toe with Tom Brady, and he was in both those games.
And I think yesterday, what can't be overstated on the Chargers is when Eckler went out, that changed their game plan, right? So
Absolutely.
they couldn't rely on the run game as much. So that did put more pressure on Herbert in a big situation, a big game for them.
Yes.
I like Herbert. I think that he looks like a rookie, which, I mean, you got to get the rookie kinks out.
Yeah.
The Bucs. I know that we kind of have this debate of, is it Bill Belichick? Is it Tom Brady? Who's going to thrive? I like the Bucs. I like the fact that they don't look perfect, but yesterday they looked really bad in the first half. It wasn't a good first half, but I don't know what was said at halftime. They came out and they just got it clicking.
It seems like the last two games, I mean, Tom Brady's doing his thing, but the receivers are
5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers.
Right, that's impressive, but the receivers also are dropping a lot of balls.
Yes.
So my God, how many more yards and how many touchdowns could he really have? So again, Tom Brady, I think probably the best thing for him was to lose week 1 against the Saints, and all the naysayers have come out because Tom Brady, as we well know, for 20 years, continuously has this chip on his shoulder and continually wants to defy the odds and prove people wrong. I just think that, hey, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers are playing at a high level. They got all the pieces. It's going to come down to them and the Saints in the division.
I completely agree. And the thing I really like about the Bucs is their defense. I know offensively that's going to get most of the recognition and the highlight, but defensively, watch out.
Right, I agree.
Ravens taking on Washington. I mean, we knew the Ravens were going to win this game. Like, this game was not in doubt.
I mean, absolutely. Look, this,
I don't know why. They lost to the Super Bowl champs
I'm not a betting person, but I would have bet all the money I had on the Ravens in that game against the Washington. Here's the reason. Washington, they're just not where they need to be. And the NFL is a quarterback-driven league. And Haskins is not a viable NFL quarterback. I mean, people can say what they want to say. He's athletic, he might be talented, but you either have it or you don't. I mean, we just talked about Herbert. Herbert, he got thrown to the fire. He looks like an NFL quarterback. He looks like he's going to do well. Haskins,
and they've given Haskins the runway.
Pull the plug. I still question Ron Rivera not getting Cam. I mean, kudos for Bill Belichick and all the teams that passed over on Cam. And I'm so happy.
I mean, but they had history in Carolina. Maybe he wanted a fresh start.
Yeah, but look, again, if you don't have a viable quarterback, you're not going to win games. You're not going to be put in contention. You can't have an average team and have a
average quarterback.
Or
sub-average.
Sub-average quarterback. It's not going to work.
Cardinals, Panthers. Now, the Cardinals got off to a really hot start, started 2-0, but now they've dropped the last 2. Do you think we were a little too high on the Cardinals?
Yes, I do. I'm more impressed. I thought the Panthers have kind of torn the corner. I think the last 2 weeks they won. And I thought a lot of it has to do with Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy B is playing some very good ball right now. Especially, he had a very spectacular run. Matter of fact, he looked like Kyler Murray when he did the run. I mean, it was very impressive.
I love Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, you cannot help to root for him.
Absolutely, and I just think that again, you got a new coach. Was it Matt Rule? Mm-hmm. I think that he seems to be.
And again, from that college mind, a little bit more inventive, so not bogged down by the NFL.
So again, you look at the last 2 weeks. I mean, hey, they're 2-0.
Yesterday's game showed for me about Teddy and the Panthers is because a lot of people want to say Teddy's a manager. I still think he does manage the game, but he has shown those flashes where he can kind of wow you a little bit. And he can do a little something.
Right. So their biggest weapon is not even playing right now.
McCaffrey,
True. C-Mac? Was the statistics last year was like he was 34% of the offense. So for them to win the last 2 games without 34% of your offense, mm-hmm. Your main person that you go to, that speaks volumes.
Both running and catching it out of the backfield.
So when he gets back and he's healthy, I mean they're only going to get better. So
that's a really good point.
I think they're gonna be a very good team the rest of the year.
And like you said, with the 3 wild card spots, that's what makes it so interesting because a team that maybe not has the greatest record, that doesn't have the greatest record, they can slide in there.
Right, I agree.
Seahawks, Dolphins. Seattle advances to 4-0. Russell continues his MVP campaign. What did you see from Seattle yesterday?
Look, did they play a little sluggish yesterday? Yes, they did. Did they do enough to win? Absolutely. It was, at the end of the day, it was a road win. Hey, Miami is not really a pushover. I think they got a young, good team, and they gave
Seattle a run.
Seattle a run, right? Again, my suspect with Seattle is their defense. Now yesterday they played a lot better, but at the same time, I mean, the Dolphins are not some type of offensive juggernaut.
True.
So they really weren't too concerned. I just think that, hey, a win's a win. Miami's an upcoming team. I want to see personally.
You want to see Tua?
I want to see Tua. I want to see Tua. I think that it's Tua time in Miami. I just.
You think the Fitzmagic has run its course?
I think so. I think it's time to put Tua in. If he's healthy, he's given the green light. Let the young guy play. Let's see what he can do.
I'm not opposed to Tua playing in Miami. I'm just saying this season does not count for anything.
True.
I mean, you see that the Bills, it's either going to come down to the Bills or the Patriots. There's
Right.
no way that Miami's going to be a real viable threat, and I still don't fully know how healthy Tua is. So
Right.
that's my only concern of don't just put him out there to, possibly get injured,
True.
if the line can't protect him. I will say about my Seattle Seahawks. Defensively, yes, you can look at the numbers. They're letting everybody score. Your mom, my mom, your grandma. They're letting everybody score.
Right.
But they're so injury depleted. And I think once they get Jamal Adams back and a couple of these pieces back,
Right.
I think they're really going to come into form when it counts the most down the stretch of the season and going into the postseason. Browns, Cowboys. The Browns look like they were going to completely dust the Cowboys, and then Dak and company rallied all the way back, only to have Odell Beckham Jr. seal the game for the Browns. What did you think of the game?
I was shocked because there was a lot of, kind of smack talk before the game even started. Could this be a high-scoring affair? And could it be a shootout? Could Baker? We know that Dak could definitely. He's done it already this year. But could he sustain? Could he get involved in a shootout? Especially when they really kind of predominantly like to run the ball to set up the pass.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked. I was shocked that Baker played well. Now he didn't play in the fourth quarter. I mean, he allowed them. They could have done a couple things to get a few first downs, to not even make it close. Thank God for OBJ and what he did. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't have been that close at the end of the game. If Baker would have took care of business in the fourth quarter. Having said that, I was very impressed. I mean, Baker, I thought he looked pretty good yesterday. I thought they ran the ball. I'm concerned about Hunt. Hopefully he won't be out.
Chubb.
I'm sorry, Chubb. He got hurt, but
the good thing is they do have Hunt now.
Yeah. So, but OBJ, I mean, he showed out yesterday. I mean,
He showed up and showed out.
Yeah,
and this was the moment we've been waiting for ever since Odell, that the trade was announced. This was the Odell that we have been waiting to emerge, because he's obviously had the drama in New York and just, on and off the field stuff. But it was just nice to see Odell be engaged in a game. And I think if you're the Browns, you have to keep him engaged in the season, because he's one of those players that everybody feeds off of. When he's thriving and doing well, everybody's energy picks up. So the Browns going forward, they have to figure out a way how to keep Odell engaged in these games.
Totally agree. Look, it comes down to why is it's a simple philosophy out here. Some of the greatest coaches that are out there today, they get the playmakers the ball. If you have all-world, like you said, transformational playmakers, you get them the ball.
Maybe Odell should feed me how Zeke did.
I thought the play calling that they did, the other wide receiver throwing it back to Odell at the very beginning of the game.
Jarvis to Odell.
Yeah, Jarvis to Odell. I thought that was kind of brilliant. So yeah, I mean, you have to find ways to get your best players the ball multiple times a game, especially in space. And there was no doubt about it. You saw OBJ was not going to go out of the sidelines. He was taking the ball to the house. And I think that's what teams have to do. If you have special players, get them the ball.
Because we've seen it historically.
Right,
Odell makes stuff happen.
Right.
So get it to him and let him make stuff happen.
Absolutely. So I think that they'll continue to do that.
I agree. Cleveland, a team to watch.
Dallas, not sure. Even though, like I said, the next 4 games, 3 of them are division games, so they should win.
I have not been impressed. I'm just going to say this. I have not been impressed with Mike McCarthy.
I'll say it again. I'm not impressed. I hate when NFL teams do retreads. They just get, there's too many great, young, innovative coaches out there. Give them the opportunity, okay? But yeah, Dallas, I mean, you got to be very alarmed and very concerned the fact that, look, their defense is giving up way too many yards. You cannot, an NFL team, this is not college, you cannot give up 300 yards on rushing. That's just unsat. I mean, that's just way unsat. And to give up, 40 points a game plus, it's just ridiculous.
When the defense in years past has been one of their strong points that they lean on, and that's the part that doesn't make sense to me of how have they regressed so much. And like you said, Mike McCarthy, he's kind of a loyalist. He brought in his guy. But something's got to give. You can't keep putting all this on Dak. And the problem is they're getting into these holes and they don't have an identity to me. And when you get into these holes, you obviously have to pass and you cannot run the ball. And so therefore Zeke is just kind of nobody. It just limits your offense. Zeke's not engaged, and like we said, you got to get your stars the ball and allow them to do stuff. But if you're getting in these big holes, you can't do that.
Right. So I asked the question: where was Alden Smith these last 2 games? Like he played lights out the first 2 games. Like my God, this guy's he finally got an opportunity. He's playing like a man possessed.
Like the Shannon Sharp, send the National Guard.
Right. You haven't seen him. What happened? I mean, how come he's not making a difference in these last 2 games? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of question marks with the defense, and they've got to shore that up.
Giants, Rams. I really don't know what to make of the Rams because they're 3-1, but they kind of give me that. I'm not saying that they're the Bears, but their 3 wins to me are not. They don't stand out in my mind. I just don't fully know what to make of the Rams yet.
The most exciting part of that game yesterday was at the end of the game with Tate and Ramsey.
Oh, the drama.
I'd like to know why. I mean, I think we kind of know why.
They were throwing bows at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little backstory. If you guys don't know, at the end of the game, Golden Tate and Jalen Ramsey, they have a bit of a history. Golden Tate's sister has kids with Jalen Ramsey. They're no longer together. We don't know all the details, but they're not super fond of each other. So, at the end of the games, when everybody goes to shake hands, well, a fight broke out. And that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, so anyway, I think the Rams, that's another team that I think that I like Sean McVay. I think he's a very bright, innovative coach. I think they've got a lot of good players. I think they're definitely, again, I think this is one of the strongest divisions, in the NFL. I just think that, they're...
But they struggled. This is the thing that I don't understand. They struggled against a Giants team with Daniel Jones and no Saquon Barkley. And to me, one of the more impressive things that I saw yesterday was actually Daniel Jones, who last week I was calling for his head. But I actually really, even though he threw the game-ending interception, right. I really liked what I saw down the stretch, and I could see he was engaged, he was competitive. So I said, okay, Daniel, I see you a little bit, right. But this game should have never been that close. I mean, that to me, if you can't put away teams in these type of games, how are you going to go against the Seattles? How are you going to go against the New Orleans?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's true. Very good point. I mean, I can't wait to see the division games. Look, the Cardinals already beat them, right? So the Cardinals beat them. Again, San Francisco's kind of wounded right now.
No, I think the Cardinals beat the 49ers.
Oh, you're right. So, but I think San Francisco still has to play the Rams 2 games, and they have to play
Seattle.
Right.
We're gonna see y'all.
So yeah, that's gonna be very interesting to see how they do against better teams, better quality teams.
Aaron Donald's a problem. Everybody knows this. He's a problem for anybody. I just would have liked to see more of a pouncing effort, especially. Right. When they lost the game against the Bills last week. I thought this was a game to really come out and make a statement of we're getting the ball rolling.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Colts, Bears, Foles got the start. He did not come in as the relief pitcher, and it didn't really go the way the Bears would have expected. Philly Riv and the Colts, they get the win.
Look, I picked the Colts to win.
I picked the Bears.
In the household, and look, the Colts are playing great football right now. I believe in Philly Riv. They've got a good defense. They can run the ball. Here's the MO with the Bears and Nick Foles, especially Nick Foles. Nick Foles is spectacular when he comes off the bench. For whatever reason,
he's the best relief pitcher in the game.
Right, he's the best relief pitcher. But don't have him start. It's just for whatever reason. Coming into this game 3-0, I thought that no way they're 3-0.
They were not in. No. They were not a team indicative of the record.
Who was a starting quarterback, is like one of those that's not a viable quarterback. Just seeing the person on the field, like we talked about Swagger, we talked about Joe Burrows. Joe Burrows looks like a prototypical NFL quarterback. Herbert, who got, if anybody that should be like rattled, that got really no playing time was Herbert, Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert has played phenomenal, exceptional, way above average, for somebody that hasn't really got that much playing time. No preseason or nothing. So, you look, Trubinsky, this is his third year?
Yeah, third or fourth.
Third or fourth year. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
He's not going to...
It's time to go.
Look, they made a smart move, put in Foles, but again, Foles is good for relief.
The Packers are in complete hold of this division.
I just don't see. I just think they're...
The thing about the Colts, so on the Colts side of this,
Colts for real.
I don't trust Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers has never been that guy for me. Statistically, everybody wants to say he's a Hall of Famer, but to me, yes, you can put up a whole lot of numbers.
I'm not going to say all that. If you have a good defense, you got a good running game.
Do you actually believe that Phillip Rivers can take this Colts team deep in the playoffs?
I think he can.
We will come back to this clip at playoff time and see who was right. Bills, Raiders. Are the Buffalo Bills for real?
The Buffalo Bills definitely are for real. I think this is their time.
Are they contenders or are they pretenders?
No,
this got me in trouble last season with the Bills.
They're definitely contenders. But I just want to kind of shift over to the Raiders. I saw some comments by Derek Carr in the news, was it yesterday or the day before? He got all upset. I'm tired of losing. Well, if you're tired of losing, play better. I'm still not sold on Derek Carr. And for all the Raider Nation out there, hey, look, my wife is a diehard Raider fan. So believe me, I know that team backwards and forwards. And I have watched them year after year, as long as they've had Derek Carr. Other than one good year when they were 12-4, and that's when he broke his leg.
The man broke his leg.
Okay, but at the end of the day, what has he done? He hasn't. To me, I'm not sold on Derek Carr. You brought in Marcus Mariota. What's Marcus doing? Is Marcus hurt? Look, at the end of the day, it's like I just something about Derek Carr that I just can't put my finger on it. But I'm like, is he enough to get him to where they need to go? I'm just not sold on the Raiders.
But you are sold on the Bills.
I'm sold on the Bills. 100% I'm sold on the Bills.
Do you like Josh Allen?
I love Josh Allen.
You love Josh Allen.
Yeah, because Josh Allen has a swagger. When you look at him, look, a lot of people, they get on him for being too athletic and running the ball and doing the things he does on the field. Look, if you're going to get hurt, you get hurt from doing what you're supposed to be doing.
But the problem is, and this is if we're going to make this argument, if you're an athletic, versatile quarterback like the Lamar Jacksons, like the Josh Allens, right? If you're this type of player, the problem, especially in Buffalo, with that is if he goes down, you all go down. Like, you're not putting somebody else back in there, and they're kind of riding the ship.
But that you can say that about every great team that has a great quarterback, right?
Somewhat, but I think there's certain teams where it matters a little bit more than others, and he's one of those that it matters a little bit more.
I think the Buffalo Bills were already a good team, going into last year.
Will they win the division?
I want to say one player, Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs has brought much attitude, much swagger, and sometimes you can just like Jamal Adams for the Seahawks. You can bring in one player to change the whole dynamic, the chemistry of the team. And I think he's got them just believing, look, this is our division. It's not New England's anymore. And you just have a sense, starting at the quarterback play, but watching Diggs and watching the rest of the team defensively, they got a great defense. I just think it's their time. It's their time to dethrone New England.
And wrapping up the Sunday games, 49ers taking on the Eagles. Carson Wentz, they are hollering for Hurts out there. He did just enough to secure the win for the Eagles. Do you think that Wentz will make it through the season?
No, I do not. I am one of those people on the sidelines clamoring for Jalen Hurts. I think
You're hollering for Hurts?
Yes, because I think Jalen Hurts is one of those special, dynamic players. I mean, look what he did at Alabama. Look what he did at Oklahoma in that 1 year. I think he can, take those same skills and do the same thing at the NFL level. He just needs an opportunity. I just think they can't go into worse with I just think Wentz has not progressed. But they're decimated with injuries. And I just think that...
and then on the flip side with the 49ers, I mean,
49ers.
they're completely... I mean,
Right.
talk about decimated by
They just
injury.
had another injury with Anza, so their defensive line and their defense...
This is hard for me to get a real gauge on this 49ers team because, we've seen teams historically in the last couple of years, they lose a Super Bowl or they kind of come off a Super Bowl, more so lose a Super Bowl, and they kind of have like a down year. We've seen that with like Atlanta and, just these different teams. So I wanted to see how the 49ers would be this season, but I don't feel like we can get a real assessment just because so many players are gone that are key to what they do. And then the quarterback play, it was bad.
I mean, Mullins, when with Jimmy G, I'm not sure when he's going to return, but it's just, unfortunately, injuries are part of the NFL, but I just think that for sure they would have been contending for that division right with Seattle, but I think there's just too many injuries, and we can always say, hey, the next man up, but when the next man up is the third and fourth string person,
true,
and you only have a 55-man roster, and you have a practice squad, there's only so many great, players out there that you can plug and play. The 49ers, like I said, just being injury depleted,
it's not their year.
It's going to be a rough season.
Makes it good for my Seattle Seahawks.
The Eagles, same thing.
Hollering for Hurts. Put him in the game.
Put in Jalen Hurts.
And that wraps up our Week 4 coverage of the NFL. Now, just so you know, this was pre-recorded to the Kansas City game, so if some things have changed or happened, know that this was pre-recorded. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to my dad, my butters, my best friend for being here, my football savant. Thank you for blessing us with your wisdom, your knowledge. You're just the best, bud.
It's been a privilege and an honor to be on your show.
Thank you, bud. Hope to have you back. Will you come back and visit us?
I'll come back.
You'll come back?
Yeah.
All right. Bye, you guys. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Take care.